Alright, I decided to start over with this, well, not really, but from the two-dimensional drawing so I could show you, since the other video didn't work out. I'm going to start by drawing the circles. So I'm just going to work over here to the side, and we're going to make two circles. So the first one's going to be the diameter of the bearing, which is 23, so half of that would be 11.5. And then inside that is going to be, so trying to find the center here. There we go. So the other one was a radius of 15, so total of 30 across. And then we're going to select the middle with the select tool and press delete on the keyboard and press pull this up 7 millimeters, which is the thickness of the bearing. So this is our first 3D object, and I think I explained this to you earlier, but we want to have a 3D solid, and these are still individual faces. So we need to combine these, and the way to do that in SketchUp is to either group them or make them a component. So to select, I like to just make a box. It's the easiest way to select multiple items. So I'm clicking and holding and dragging away, and it selects everything in the window there. So all those surfaces are selected, and then right click and you can either group it or make a component. I'm going to group it, and then with this solid I'm going to make some guidelines that we're going to use later. So I'm going to use the line tool, and I need to find the center again. So sometimes it's difficult to find the center, so sometimes it's easier to click on, well, there it is right there. So if you can't find it that way, you can just draw a line from an endpoint to the center. So I need to find the center, and your thingies are attached going this way. So I'm going to make some lines from the center out. I'm going to draw this on the bottom, so I'm going to orbit underneath. So straight across on the green axis over to the edge. I'm going to go ahead and make another one the opposite direction. And then this will make sense in a little bit, but we're going to make a little spot for those things to attach to later. So now I'm going to draw on the side, straight up on the Z, which is the blue line, to the end point over there. And press escape because I'm done drawing lines there, and then I'm going to draw one more line here from the end point up to the edge, then escape again. So this is where the two little blades are going to attach. It gives me a midpoint here, so it makes it really easy to snap to once we're ready to move it in place. And I forgot to check to make sure this is a solid. Yes, it is a solid. So good. So far, so good. I'm just going to grab this surface and copy it. So I selected it. Now I'm going to go to the Move tool, press Control one time, and click on it anywhere and just move it across to a blank area here so I can work on it. And what's going to help is if we make this a straight line across from here to here. That way, if we attach this and it doesn't exactly match up to the edge, there's not going to be an issue. So we're going to draw just a straight line across here from end point to end point, and then delete this line here. So at this point you have a nice shape that you could extrude, and I'm going to show you the very basic way you could finish your project. This would not get you those full 20 points for complexity, but at least it would be done. So if you want to finish it and then you can play around with it after that, that is fine to do. So I imagine that this would be thinner than the thickness of the round thingy. So I'm going to extrude or push pull this up, let's say 3.5 millimeters. And then the very basic thing you could do is we're going to make this a solid first of all. So select everything here, right click, make a group, and then eventually we're going to have two of these. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. So I'm going to use the control key to go into copy mode. I'm going to copy that over. And you want this one to be flipped. So you need this to be the mirror image. So I'm going to flip this around. Let's see, that's still not going to do anything. So if I flip it around, let's see what happens. So we're going to use the rotate tool. And I want to use the green axis, I think, or maybe the red. So you're going to use your arrow keys. So that's not the way I want to flip it. Actually, that might be the way. We could flip it two different ways. So I'm going to flip it this way first. So I'm going to click here on the corner and then grab over here and rotate it. So I need to go 180 degrees. So you can either type it in or rotate it until it snaps to the red line there. So let me just escape out of this. So I feel like I didn't explain that well enough. So this rotate tool, you can think of it as the face of a clock. And I want to rotate it where the face is lined up with this here. So that is going to be the green axis. So your arrow keys on your keyboard can lock to different axes. So that's the left arrow is green, the right arrow is red, I think the up arrow is blue. So you want the green so it matches up with this. So now I'm just going to click somewhere to place the center of the face. And then the next step is I'm grabbing like a minute hand or an hour hand, whatever you want to think of, on the clock. So I'm just going to grab right here and rotate that hand around. You can rotate it either way. Then I want to go, I'm just going to go ahead and type it in. So I'm going to go this way and 180, enter. So now I have it flipped around that way. But now I need to also rotate it around the Z, which would be the blue axis, to get it to face, the pointy way that way. So I'm going to stick to the blue. I'm going to grab it on the corner here, and then grab a handle over here somewhere. I want to also rotate this 180 degrees. Oh. So maybe I shouldn't have flipped it. So this will be good practice. So there's 180 degrees, but now these two are, there's a flat edge here and the flat edge there. So I need to rotate it back along the green the opposite way. So that's the left arrow. Flip it back over 180 degrees. So that's the way you want it. So this one here is that guy over there, and then this one's over on that one. So now all you need to do is attach these things. So to do that, I need to draw just a couple lines. So I want the flat edge to attach. So I'm going to draw a line from the midpoint at the top to the midpoint at the bottom. And then I'm also, well, actually that should be enough there. So I have a midpoint here that I can use. So I'm just going to draw that one line on both of these. Alright, so now I'm ready to move them into place. So I'm going to use the Move tool. Actually, before you move the Move tool, or use the Move tool, you want to select your item. So I'm going to start with this one over here, then go to the Move tool. I'm going to grab it right at that midpoint, and I'm going to orbit so I can see my line over here, and find the midpoint here. And I'm going to go ahead and select the other guy and do the same thing. Move from the midpoint. I'm going to orbit around and view the other line here. Snap to this midpoint here. Alright, so you can see that there's a little bit of a gap here. So what we need to do is move this in until that gap is filled in. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Move tool. Just grab it anywhere, and then I want to move along the green axis until that gap disappears. I'm going to zoom in. So I want to just go along the green. That's going to move it straight to the right. So I'm going to click right there. So that was, actually I'm just referencing the dimensions there. I think 2.4 or 2.5 would work. Let's do 2.4. 2.4, enter. Alright, so slightly peeking out there, which is not going to be a problem. So there's no gaps. That's the thing I don't want to have, is gaps on the outside. There is a little tiny gap. So I'm going to try moving it one more time. Along the green. I'm going to go this way. I'm just going to go 0.1. So that was a total of 2.5. So we went 2.4, and then I just went an additional 0.1. So that's 2.5 in, and that looks like the gap has disappeared there. So I'm going to go ahead and move this one in. 2.5. 2.5, enter. Alright, so those should be exactly in the middle. And I want to check to make sure all three of these are still solids. So that's a solid group. That's a solid group. And this one's a solid group. Okay, so now we're ready to go to the last step, which would be to combine all of these solids. So you could use either the outer shell or the union, both of those combined solids. I'm going to use the outer shell. So what you do is you choose one solid and combine it with the one that is touching, and then you can also combine the last one there. And then you want to just make sure when you're done that everything is a solid group. Now I could print this, and this would be a finished project. So now that we've got to this point, I'm going to go back 2 steps to before they were all combined. So now we can go in and manipulate and make it just a little bit more interesting. So we extruded this, or push-pulled this, a total of, I think it was 3.5. So I can make a mark on the halfway point to divide this in half. Go to the midpoint there and the midpoint there. That is just going to be a guide for some of the other things I want to do here. So I was starting to explain this in class to you that this could actually be like origami. It can fold. So I'm going to go into edit mode. Right now this solid is just selected, and I want to edit the solid, so I'm going to double click to get inside it. Now I can modify this, and I'm going to just draw a line here that's going to be like a fold line, so it can fold. So I'm going to click the line tool. I'm going to click on edge somewhere here, draw a line straight across on the red axis. That's so I can copy it. So I'm going to go all the way around, actually. So here along the red all the way to the end. And then connect these dots here. So this will allow me to manipulate this. Since this is a surface, I can fold it down. I'm going to try to go halfway. So I'm going to go use the move tool. I'm going to move this corner. So I have a surface selected, so I need to deselect that because I actually want to select this corner. So I'm in edit mode. I use the move tool and just grab this end point, then drag it down to the midpoint there. I'm going to grab the lower corner, move that up, and then just notice how it folds right on this line. That's why we created it, so it could fold right on that line. So now, if you wanted to do the same thing over here, you would have to know the distance between here and here. So I'm going to click on my measuring tape here and measure from here to here. So I'm just going to, let's see, so it's 6.69 millimeters from that line. So I'm going to go over to this one, double click to get inside it, and it was measured from this other side here. So from this line, 6.69 over. So I'll just use the measuring tape to place a guideline. So along this line, 6.69, enter. So there's a little spot there. So now I can start drawing my line across, straight across there, and then from here down, and from here over, then the last line here. Then we need a line from here over to here. So now you can get inside here. Oh, you know what? I forgot to put those lines on the inside. So I don't think it's going to work. Let's see if it does. Okay, so now see? It's going to mess it all up. It's because these lines are not on the actual solid. So it's not folding the surface the way I want it to. So I'm going to escape out of that and then undo that step. and actually undo all those lines. Okay, so now I need to get inside the solid. So I'm going to double click. Now I should still have that guideline there, and I'm going to click on there. Now I'm drawing the lines inside the actual solid. Alright, so now I can grab the move tool and grab the corner. Go down. Oh wait, I forgot the last line. So I'll escape out of that. Need this line here, from here to here. Now I can use the move tool. Snap it right there. Go up. Snap it right there. That didn't go all the way down, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that again. And now I have this extra line, a couple lines in here that are extra, that I'm just going to erase. Alright, let me make sure this is still a solid. So it's still a solid group, and that is just a group. So I have something extra in here that I need to get rid of. I'm going to try to get rid of this line and this line, and then see now if it's a solid. Okay, it's a solid group. So you can't have any extra lines inside the solid. You can't combine a solid with just extra stuff. Alright, so now this is more complex. So this will get you more points on your project. So now the last step would be to combine the solids together. So I'm going to use this one here. Click on that one, click the middle one, and then click the last one. And there you have it.